In the next 10 minutes, I want to go over Johnson & Johnson, who reported their earnings this morning. And I also want to explain to you why I refer to Johnson & Johnson as the silent king of my portfolio. Let's not waste any time and get right into it. And what really caught my eye regarding this stock is just how well it has been performing in 2025. We are up 18% year over year with a stock that is historically and traditionally seen as a sleepy stock. And I'll explain what I mean by that a little bit later in the video. But absolutely amazing return so far here as of October of 2025. Johnson & Johnson raised its 2025 sales forecast after reporting quarterly earnings that topped Wall Street expectations. The company tweaked its 2025 product revenue forecast and now expects $93.5 billion to $93.9 billion, about $300 million higher than its previous view and above analyst expectations of $93.4 billion. But I love it when one of my companies or one of my stocks is able to increase their forecast. It is a very bullish sign and shows tremendous confidence on the side of the stock and the CEO and the company overall. The article continues saying that third quarter sales of $23.99 billion edged past Wall Street's expectations of $23.75 billion. The drugs and medical device maker posted adjusted earnings of $2.80 per share, topping analyst expectations by 4 cents. And this goes back to the point that I made about Johnson & Johnson being seen as a sleepy stock. This stock is not something that's supposed to shoot up 18% over the last year. As you can see by these earnings, even topping by a couple of cents is a great win for Johnson & Johnson. You're not going to see them blowing past earnings like a Palantir or a Meta or an Nvidia. That's not the type of stock that Johnson & Johnson is. And now let's get to why I refer to them as the silent king of the portfolio. And that is because they are known as a dividend king. What exactly does that mean? A dividend king is a stock that has paid dividends, increasing dividends, might I add, for at least 50 years. In Johnson & Johnson's case, they have been paying increasing dividends for over 60 years. And as you can see by this list, they are among great companies like Coca-Cola, Marzetti, Colgate. So not exactly the most exciting companies, to be fair, but definitely some rock solid companies that you know that you can count on in your portfolio. Johnson & Johnson is not a stock that I'm up at night worried about. I know that they're gonna do exactly what they say they're going to do. They have been raising their dividend now for 62 years. I mean, there's only 56 companies, I believe, as of August of this year that were dividend kings. So to be among that select group is quite the achievement for Johnson & Johnson. Now let's get into a couple of numbers here. I just want to give a very brief analysis of Johnson & Johnson. Their current dividend yield is about 2.7%. Not too shabby considering the types of dividend yields that you'll find nowadays in the last quarter here of 2025. My dividend yield, however, is much higher at 3.6%. And that's because I've held this position since 2019. When I originally got started in the stock market and started learning how to invest, Johnson & Johnson was just one of those companies that stuck out to me because even back then, they were a dividend king. Keep in mind, I've been in the stock market now for about 7 years. So back then, just the type of reputation that Johnson & Johnson had as a company that you could trust, that you could count on, that dividend was going to come in, come hell or high water. That's pretty much how I saw it. I only have a 5-year dividend CAGR here. I've held the position for longer than that. But the 5-year dividend CAGR is about 5.2%. Now, if you watched my video on Starbucks, you would know that I generally like to see a 5-year dividend CAGR of about 7 to 8%. That's really my sweet spot on the amount of growth that I want to see in a dividend for a stock that I own. But Having said that, I've owned this stock since 2019. I never worry about this stock because I know that they're going to do what they're good at. I mean, the types of products that Johnson & Johnson sell are like diapers, pharmaceutical products, medical equipment. So Johnson & Johnson really sticks to stuff that are needed. I mean, healthcare is not going to go away. As long as people don't live forever, you're going to need a company like Johnson & Johnson so you can get medicine made, so you can get medical equipment made. Diapers. I mean, I have a 1-year-old right now who really should be potty training, but we have to keep getting diapers every week or two. It's a beautiful business model that is not going to go away anytime soon. And now I want to answer the question, why do I keep Johnson & Johnson in my stock portfolio? It's not exactly a high-growing company. Some of you might be asking, why don't you put the money that you have in Johnson & Johnson and put that money into something that's going to grow much faster? And to that, I would say, I'm going to give you this analogy because I love to give sports analogies, and I'm a huge football fan, specifically a huge Real Madrid fan. And I like to talk about Johnson & Johnson like a center back of a football team. They are the foundation of the defense. And that's how I see Johnson & Johnson in my portfolio. When stocks are flying high and everybody is risk on, that's when people start questioning, why do you have a stock like Johnson & Johnson? But the stock market is not always going to be like that. We are going to go through a dip or a crash or a recession at some point. And during those times, it's great to have a company like Johnson & Johnson that you don't have to worry about. They're selling diapers. They're selling medical equipment. Whether you're in a recession, a depression, it doesn't matter. You know that they're going to be making some revenue, and they're going to be focusing on that dividend because they do not want to lose that history of growing dividends to their shareholders. Just like you can count on your center back behind you, they're going to be there to defend. They're going to do their thing regardless of what's going on with the rest of the team. If the forwards, if the, strikers that get all of the headlines are failing, if the high growth companies are failing, you know that your center back is back there holding down the line. And that is why I really don't see myself selling Johnson & Johnson anytime soon. And I mean, the longer you own a company like this, the better your dividend yield is going to get over time. I mean, just look at it. It's paying me about a solid % higher than what somebody buying the stock now would get. And all because I've been holding it over time. But I would love to get your opinion on Johnson & Johnson in the comments below. If you agree, any violent outbursts of disagreement, it really does not matter to me. I want to know what you think and what you made of Johnson & Johnson's earnings today. Do you own the stock? Are you planning on owning the stock in the future? Please let me know. I would love to know. And as always, if you made it until this point in the video, be sure to give me a like. It helps out tremendously. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.